Hello, everyone. Well, I'm still recovering from the organization of the 10th Fab Lab conference last July in Barcelona, in which we were celebrating this kind of 10 years of Fab Labs, no? And many questions have come during these 10 years. What is going to come next? Is going to be 90 years of Fab Cities? Are Fab Labs going to be something more than a cool nerd club? So those are some of the questions that we pointed out in this Fab Lab meeting. No? But as you know, when we try to talk about the relationship between Fab Labs and Fab Cities, it comes maybe in something that is more broader. No, it's the relationship between technology and humans, and how bringing back again Mr. Jeremy Rifkin, how the different technological revolutions had led into big change in the way we live, in the way we relate with each other, and in the way that society is being organized. No? And basically, today's capitalism is being built on industrialized kind of revolution that happens around, I don't know, you can call it 150 years, 200 years ago, and basically powered also by the ability of communications to spread the knowledge all around the world. But we will see further how this is slightly changing. No? But out of this old model that we are exhausting, we have created like a standardized world in which things are produced somewhere, they are shipped somewhere else. I guess those are things that you already know how it happens, that you can buy a Marlboro cigarettes in the Arctic Ocean, or you go to Australia, or even in whatever city that you can imagine in the world. No? But it's happening not only with this kind of consumption goods, but also in the technology we use and the things that we kind of interface to build our everyday life is basically produced in a standardized way. And basically what we have to do is to choose from whatever options are given to us. No, it's no mystery around it. No, so then what we are kind of learning is just how to pick things. You know, how if we were chickens sitting in front of food and then we just have to eat it and wait for someone else to actually use us to feed something else. This is actually what is happening in today's world. But then now is a moment in which many people is thinking about the future, no? And then we can see that now, embedded or wearable technologies are going to lead the future, or robots are going to replace what we do is going to lead the future, or things that fly and deliver things are going to lead the future. And then, what's kind of this one of constructed visions of the future is the same things that we have today, but with flying things around it. But this is nothing new. I mean, and then maybe thinking about the future is already an idea of the past. No, so we have generating wonderful technologies, imagining near futures, but actually the present is being in front of us, is passing through us, and then it's basically the future is now. No, so what has been happening is that in the last 50 years, computation, or 70, 50, 60, you can call it, computation and internet are powering our life. No? One of the results is that all of us are carrying 2, 3, 4 devices that you're actually sitting now communicating with other people while I'm talking. And then this is not that old, actually. And the way that we have boosted the way, or the boost that the use of these technologies in a more social way had happened. So only 10 years ago, Facebook was launched, or YouTube. YouTube has changed the way we used to access to content, going from the TV model in which someone broadcasts content, and you just have to see it and make sure that you're right on time where the content was delivered. Now, you basically choose whenever you want to see that content, and more importantly, you can produce content and share it, no? And then tools like Twitter that we know how useful they have been. But somehow we have these amazing tools and we use it to take pictures of food and share it with our friends, which is okay. But then in some other cases, maybe a little bit taken into an extreme. I'm sure that it's not only Twitter that is changing or caused the Arab Spring, but it helped, let's say. No? What happens when we put in this idea of personal computation or distributed computation and distributed communications, the idea of distributed manufacturing? So you can imagine. It's not only 3D printing. It's tools like Arduino that, again, is just recently being added into the set of tools that we have is 3D printing or accessible 3D printing, and it is not even 10 years old when RepRap came into life. And there are places like Fab Labs. Yeah, Nadia and I, we work together, kind of the same thing, so we can share some of these slides. And that are being spread around the world and that are allowing people to get access to this kind of tools to produce things and to share them. And then it's building basically a distributed manufacturing ecosystem. No? And I think that Nadia has been pointing out some facts, some key facts on the way of how you produce things. Not only things and objects that you use, but actually even being able to produce the tools that you need to produce things. No? So this is the thing. No? We're having access to tools to make tools that can change probably cities or can change the way we live, or we can take the decisions on how we want them to change our life. This is, again, things that we pointed out in the Fab conference this year in Barcelona, in which we launched the idea of, in order to scale up the possible impact of Fab Labs, we need to think around how society is going to be reconfigured, how people is reorganizing themselves on how they share projects, how they launch it, how they go to market without, by kind of skipping the traditional path of a clear example is crowdfunding. Everyone knows about it. Then to think about how digital fabrication technologies are evolving and then are bringing a better, more sustainable, faster tools to produce things, to go from prototype to product. And then to think about how cities can basically recover the ability of being productive. If you think about how cities operate today, they basically import things that have been produced thousands of miles away. We process those things, we produce trash that we don't use, basically. No? So if you think, and at the end of the day, you're a big producer of trash. And then how we can move forward and using this kind of new manufacturing ecosystem in cities that can basically close the cycle of the matter within an acceptable radius. No? We engaged the mayor of Barcelona to take a challenge. This is the way in which he passes the torch to Sherry Lassiter to organize the Fab conference next year in Boston. And basically, the Barcelona mayor, I don't know if he knew that what he was doing, but he pressed a button saying that in 40 years, Barcelona should be self-sufficient. No? He might be aged and he didn't understand the type of challenge, but the idea of Barcelona being self-sufficient is basically being able to produce energy locally, to produce food locally, and to produce things locally. And then the only things that come in and out of the city is basically information and data to turn that information into things through local manufacturing technologies. This is kind of starting to happen. This is the Fab City project, which is being launched in Barcelona a few years ago. And now we are constructing a network of kind of urban Fab Labs that are bringing tools for people to produce stuff. No? This is kind of imagining that you might have before, kind of libraries of the future, but with more challenges to come. No? So because when some of these labs are being run by the government. Imagine when the government trying to organize a Fab Lab or a hackerspace or a makerspace. So the main question is this: does Fab Labs need to be bureaucratized and get inserted into kind of official system, or does the government need to be hacked, no, and being operate in a different way? So these are the kind of tensions that we are facing today. And also, I guess that other type of challenges is what are the things that are being produced within these places? Is really for whoever to come in and produce farting robots and do whatever they want, or it's really to kind of use these places to produce impact in the urban scape, no? Out of this reflection, I want to introduce a project that I funded together with colleagues a couple years ago that is called Smart Cities, and it has been nurtured in Fab Lab Barcelona. And it's with the idea of this access to these tools, these prototyping tools that I mentioned before, how we can create more tools that can improve the people's life in cities. No? So basically from the idea of how we produce data and how we use it in cities. In this sense, we have the ability of streaming, producing information that can affect the behavior in people in the cities, and then again change the data that is being feedback, and then to understand how the urban systems live, or how the city operates in a different layer that we haven't explored that much. No? Even when sensing has been talk and talk for many years, there is not such a thing as a, kind of very reliable or very kind of strong urban sensing practice that you can say is happening today, even with all the rise of smart cities now. So basically, we wanted to make that, as I said, make visible the invisible, and that we do it through sensing the city, acquiring the information that is surrounding us that we don't see but actually affect the way we live. And then at the same time, provide the tools for people or for citizens to participate in what the city is, in the production of the city by this information layer. And doing through open source tools, of course. No? So we basically built on top of Arduino a sensor board, and to do that and to develop that, we did a first crowdfunding campaign. We raised 14,000 euros. Then we could build a team, a small team, that led us to the first prototypes of a kit, as I said before, with a Wi-Fi antenna and some sensor boards that basically was capturing this initial phase, capturing these variables from the city. No? Very much inspired in the air quality egg and inspiring the Pachube movement. And then basically I always say that we exist, or we kind of have been some kind of successful because Pachube was sold by Usman Haque to Lock Me In, and because air quality egg lost the support from COSON a few years ago. So basically we take kind of that position and we took it further. Then after that, we did a Kickstarter campaign. I think this is boring. Most of you have done Kickstarter campaigns. And then we did a most beautiful version of that. No? And now smartcitizen.me is an online platform that is taking data from more than 800 sensors around the world that has been acquired through crowdfunding or by buying in our store. Today we have, as I say, 785 kits that have posted at least once to the platform. And then we have 227 million data points that have been produced so far in our store. And then basically we are almost everywhere in the planet with a lot of challenge to come. Let's say, I think that what made the project successful quote unquote again, it was not the technological advancement. And we have, as I said, we built on top of projects that existed before. But basically, we kind of we were an experiment of critical design against the whole smart city agenda being developed by IBM, Cisco, and the big players saying, we're going to develop a infrastructure in the city that is going to provide technology to manage and control the city. You say, well, if you're going to have a smart city, you cannot have stupid citizens. No? So in a way, we raised that voice, and that's why the project gained some attention. No? This is the president of Cisco featuring a smart citizen in the Internet of Things World Forum, and he's the evil of these big companies. He's basically, if there is someone in the hell exists, this guy is the evil. And in the smart cities ecosystem. And so we managed to get there inside the beast, if you want to call it. And then we won in the Smart City Expo with all the, kind of the evil meeting. We won the Innovation Award, Innovative Initiative. And then I remember when I was going to take the prize, the other guys, they were not even shaking my hand. They were very bad. But we won to companies like Schneider of the City Council of Toronto. And then, thanks to that, we started to gain some traction from other cities to implement the smart citizen in a more top-down strategy, or a mixed strategy. And this is the case of the Amsterdam Smart City project. They acquired smart citizen kits to basically deploy the technology with their citizens. No? So we did some workshops together with the VAC Society in Amsterdam to a 3-month experiment, and now it keeps growing. And we keep doing some research on which are the effects, which are the conclusions that we can take on how people approach these technologies, how they use it, and what they expect from them. No? We're doing the same in Manchester with the support of Future Everything and Intel, by the way. And the same, we basically develop a workshop and try to gain some community building around the project and try to get people encouraged to use these kind of tools for the production of data in the city. No? And of course, we started to find some challenges that made people be a little bit doubtful about the success of these kind of technologies. And there are some of the things that we're working now in our next versions. No? We are engaged in the creation of a community, of course, through online platforms like forums, but also it's important to keep the local championing, and we are doing that through some research papers in which we're finding the companion of it. It's not enough with the technologies, but actually you need the support to the development of these technologies to be successful. We're about to launch a new website as well. It's going to be released hopefully in the next month. And then I think that what is important is to think that the creation of open source tools or this kind of more bottom-up approaches is not only for citizens to be renegades against the bad people, but actually we need to think that we need to work with those people that we think they're bad, but they could be our best partners. And that's I think that the articulation between these players and the creation of tools out of places like Fab Labs and maker spaces will help to create more impact in the way these technologies can reach out into the change of city and society, and not only being a self kind of achievement. No? And I think that with that, I would like to finish. I think I took more time, and thank you very much.